10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Hello, Facebook and YouTube land. What's up? I am joined today by the wonderful Madam Absinthe.
Hello, everyone in internet land who's tuning into this. Hopefully a lot of you.
I hope so.
Me too.
All right. Me too. So for anyone who's watching who doesn't know who you are, tell us who you are. Tell us what you do.
Good Lord, how long do you have? Because I do a lot of things. I go by Madam Absinthe or Miss E online. My real name is Missy, M-I-S-S-Y. That's the joke. I mostly sew things. I sew weird things for weird people. I made this jacket and almost everything else you've ever seen me wear. I make idiot YouTube videos once a week. What else? I don't know. I do a lot. If you ask, I probably dabble in it.
All right. So obviously you travel a fair amount for some of the stuff you do, right?
Sometimes, not always, but yes.
Not always. All right. Well, when you're out on the road, what's your favorite snack?
That is a very good question. I am a horrible person and I really love to eat French fries. So
okay.
I know if there's anywhere we can stop and get French fries, then I'm into it. And because, we're Canadian, my favorite junk food on the road is poutine. Anyone who's not, also, I have a friend here from Quebec and I'm sure he's just horrified about my Anglophone accent and how I just said poutine. But anyway, that's the English Canadian way of saying it, which is French fries with gravy and white cheese curds for anyone who is not familiar. And it is absolutely delicious.
Hang on, is there cheese curds that aren't white?
There are, yes. They make orange ones. Yes.
I've never seen orange ones.
Yeah, they make flavored ones. They make dill flavored ones. They make onion flavored ones, all kind of things.
Huh. That's really, I used to love cheese curds. Unfortunately, I'm gluten free, so it's hard to get them anywhere. But
I believe that. I believe that. If you have dietary restrictions, road food can certainly be a problem. Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. So if you were a salad, what kind of dressing would it have?
Oh my God, I would be Caesar dressing, 100%. And a lot of it. If I'm going to eat salad, there better be a lot of dressing on it because it's one of those things, lettuce is great. But if you guys have ever watched The Simpsons, you don't make friends with salad. You don't make friends with salad. So yeah, if there's going to be salad, there's going to be croutons, there's going to be cheese, there's going to be dressing. I do love vegetables. I eat a lot of them, but if they are more flavorful, then that's a lot better.
Okay. Let's see. All right. So do you have any crazy fan interaction stories?
You know what? So like we were talking about before the interview started here, I recently was at Dark Forest Fest, as were you. And I was extremely surprised at the amount of people that recognized me there. That was very shocking. I honestly thought there'd be 2 or 3 people being like, "Hey, Missy," on the way by, and that'd be it. And away I'd go. But I would say at least 50, 60 people for sure recognized me, and then more messaged me afterward and were like, "Oh, I totally saw you, but I was too shy. I couldn't come say anything." And I was like, "Listen, if you see me in public, come say hi. I don't bite. That costs extra." So, I don't understand why people are nervous to approach me or, anyone that they happen to know from internet land, because I'm an extreme extrovert. I aggressively go socialize with people. At any moment at Dark Forest, when no one was talking to me, I'd be like, "Well, time to go find a stranger." And I'd just run across the room and be like, "Hello, I like your jacket," or "Do you love this band?" or whatever it is, because I'm a very social creature. And because, COVID, we've all been doing COVID. And I feel like I haven't been able to go to these kinds of events in so long. I'm going to socialize as much as humanly possible while I'm there. And the coolest part about all the people that recognize me is that 95% of them that came and interacted with me either said, I started sewing because of you, I've gotten back into sewing because of you, or told me about like other creative hobbies that they are pursuing because of me. And I thought that was
awesome.
Right? Isn't that amazing? If you can put more creativity into the world, then I have done my job. That made me extremely happy.
That's awesome. So other than that, what were some of your best parts at Dark Force?
Well, I mean, so I have never been to Dark Force before. In 2019, I did go to it when it was Dark Side.
Yeah.
And they still had music, but it was more music mixed with other things. And since it has become Dark Force, it's much more music based. And I wasn't really aware of the change, like what the change meant. I wasn't sure if they just changed the name or what was happening. And then when I realized it's more like music focused, I was so into that because I haven't been to a concert since COVID. And I have seen Combi Christ only once before, and it was one of the roughest shows I have ever been to. Like that mosh pit was intense. And I was like, yeah, I'm a mosh pit girl through and through. Like if there is a to be in it, I will be somewhere in the center and you will probably see this hair. So I was like, yes, this is going to be so exciting. So I was thrilled to see Combi Christ. And also one of my favorite things is that a lot of bands that were playing there, I wasn't familiar with and I didn't know. And I'm a big music lover. I can't go in the car without music. If I'm walking, I definitely have my headphones on. Like it's very important to me. So it was a very cool way to discover new bands that I might not be familiar with. And, we were just wandering like in and out of rooms, checking out different bands and stuff. And I love that. I love that. I came back as a fan of a bunch of different bands. And like you said, Goth Dad was very special to you with Vision Video. And I honestly was not very familiar with Vision Video, completely seriously. I mean, I'd seen Goth Dad on internet doing silly like jokes and what have you. And I was like, whatever, that guy's kind of cool. But I wasn't familiar with their music. Yeah. So we went and saw that set. And not only was their music great, but the way he spoke in between.
Oh, I know.
Right. And it made me actually like him a lot more now that I've seen him perform live. Because I'm like, oh, you're not just this like, one note person on the internet. Like he seems like a really cool human and the music was good as well. So absolute bonus.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I was vaguely familiar. Like I listened to some of his music and then I did a painting of him and gave it to him. And I dabble. Just a little bit. A little bit. That was the first time I painted in years, but I gave it to him when I ran into him at one point and it was like amazing. But then like during his set, you remember, I don't know if you remember, he dedicated the song Haunted Hours to anyone who's lost somebody. But then at the end of the song, I was front row. My makeup was like this, but it was running because I was crying. And he like looked down at me and said, "Thanks for singing along, Eric." Aww. And I like,
oh, that's really, really cute.
I know.
And also I imagine that it only improved your makeup, having the like running makeup aesthetic. Totally awesome.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's what goth kids do, right?
Exactly. I recently went for a pedicure and the lady was like pointed at the wall and she's like, choose a color. And I was like, really? You already know what color I'm going to pick, completely seriously. So I handed her the black nail polish and she went, I'm shocked. And I was like, yes, I know you are. And she was like, listen, this is not like a gel pedicure. This is just a regular pedicure. Just FYI, your nail polish is probably going to chip in about a week. And I said, listen, I am a goth girl through and through, and chipped black nail polish is like 90% of my aesthetic. So we're fine.
I understand.
Right? There you go. Yep. I use my hands a lot for sewing, so my nails and nail polish always looks like shit. There is no way to keep it good.
So what's like a typical day look like, for you?
Ugh. Sewing nonstop. I just chain myself to the sewing machine and like just go for it. You know what? You never know what the day is going to bring you. I always say, if you leave yourself open to adventure, you never know what the day is going to bring you. And it's entirely true. I mean, my day generally, it's just sewing. We have a new sewing studio. There's two of us, me and my friend Mary, we sew together and we have a sewing studio at her house. And my day can literally go from a custom wedding dress to a goth corset to a boat tarp to like repairing a zipper. Like it's all over the map. And it's really neat because before COVID, the sewing I used to do was only for performers. I only sewed for like drag queens, burlesque girls, theater people, cosplayers, what have you. And then COVID, And then they all stopped doing that. Drag queens, no drag. Burlesque girls, no burlesque. Theater, not happening. So I was like, okay, time to start like hemming pants and doing code zippers and like boring shit for soccer moms. And that's what got me through, COVID, because people still needed sewing. It was just a different kind of sewing.
Right.
Which makes me feel like artistically dead. But people need that stuff, right? Like I would rather repair someone's coat zipper than have them throw the coat away and buy a new one, because that's very wasteful. And obviously, as time goes on, clothing is being made shittier and shittier and shittier due to the rise of fast fashion. So if you have something that's of a decent quality, it makes me feel good to be able to repair it so that it can live a longer life.
That makes sense. So how'd you get into like sewing for, drag and for burlesque and all? Like, how'd you get into doing all this?
So this is quite a funny story.
Okay.
Well, not funny, but like unusual. So I'm quite tall. Some people know that, some people don't. I'm a very unusual body size. I'm very tall. I'm very narrow. My arms are very long. I have big feet because of my height, and I cannot go buy women's clothing commercially. It just doesn't fit me. Like it just doesn't. I look like I'm wearing children's clothes, and it's ridiculous. Especially in the shoulders. I just feel like I'm going to like crazy, like Hulk out of stuff all the time. So that was very frustrating for me when I was younger. And I mean, still is. I haven't bought something all the time, but because of that, I'm like, I need to learn to sew so that I can fit my body, number one. And number two, I always had these cool, like weird artistic clothing ideas in my head. I just didn't know how to make them. Right. So I did not learn to sew properly, I guess we'd call it. I didn't take like, sewing lessons, whatever. My grandmother sewed when I was very young. So, and she didn't sew from patterns at all. She, grew up like through the Second World War and stuff like that. So they didn't have a lot of things. So you just had to make it work with what you had. Right. And when I was little, I would just say things. I'd be like, Nana, make me a hat that looks like a dinosaur. And bam, a hat that looks like a dinosaur would appear. Or I want like a glow in the dark prom dress for my Gem and the Holograms doll. And bam, that would appear. So I was always like subconsciously aware that if you just say something, it is a very normal skill to be able to just produce this thing and have it appear in front of you. Right. So when I started to learn to sew, I was like, of course I don't need fucking sewing patterns or anything. I'm just gonna, people ask me for things and I would just figure out how to make them. And that's the way my fashion ideas work in my head too. I'll be like, wow, I really want to attach barbed wire to somebody's head and make like this cool halo thing. How do I do that? Not a clue. But you just kind of like keep going and figure it out and trial and error until you get there. The project might take a couple of twists and turns before it ends up where you want it to. But once you figured it out, you've taught yourself something, you have a new skill that you can then apply to your sewing knowledge, and your projects in the future can be more and more and more complicated as you keep building on the same skills, right?
Right.
And then people with other unusual body sizes, like drag queens, started approaching me and being like, wow, first of all, you look really neat. I like your style. Second of all, where do you get these things to fit yourself? And I was like, well, I make them. And they were like, well, as a man who dresses up as a woman and does drag, I cannot go to a store and buy a dress because, my shoulders are too wide, all these things.
Right.
So, and they want like way more elaborate gowns than what you can buy at the freaking mall or whatever.
Yeah.
So, then I started sewing for them. I also
what's up, Tyler from October Noir?
Oh, yes. Did you hear? I don't know if you know, but I saw your interview with them. I watched it when you did it. Was it last week? I have a terrible sense of time.
I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks ago. Yeah.
Okay, there you go. See, I have a terrible sense of time. Anyway, I watched that, but I will be going in just about a month. I'm actually going down to Florida to film a music video with them.
I can't wait to see it. It's going to be awesome.
I can't wait either. It's going to be so much fun. And that's another, just went to Dark Forest, soon going to Florida. And I'm like, this is the most I've been to the States in a very long time. I just hope I can handle the heat. I haven't been to Florida like since I was a child. And I remember it being very hot and very like the air being very like thick. Like you almost feel like you're drinking water when you're trying to breathe. So I don't know how it's an affair for the hawk, but we're going to have to figure it out. I'm willing to suffer for the art. So we're going to make it work.
Oh, absolutely. All right. I think you're in the middle of your story. I'm sorry for cutting you off.
I don't even know what I was saying. It's fine.
Okay, it's fine.
Listen, I just opened my mouth and we all deal with the consequences. So I will continue to talk until you tell me to shut up, basically. So you can keep asking questions and I will talk for any length of time. I promise.
Okay. So what do you think is the biggest struggle that you're facing right now, like just as a creator?
You asked me a question. I'm gonna get up on a soapbox. This is gonna be terrible.
That's fine.
Here we go, the speaker's corner. Now's my chance. Okay, so I hate fast fashion.
Now, what do you mean when you say that?
Fast fashion? I mean shit that's really poorly made, like tops that you can get at Old Navy for $5, all the bullshit you buy on Wish, all the stuff that comes off Shein, however you say it, like those shitty Asian websites that, number one, they rip off creators. They will literally steal pictures of your work and tell you that a dress that is going to cost someone $800 for you to make it properly. They're like, this is my dress. They chop your head out of the picture and they say, oh, this is the dress we're selling for like $40. Now, anyone who knows anything knows you cannot get that dress for $40.
Yeah.
But people that don't know anything, which is most people, like I can't expect that most people would know about sewing, know about fashion, know about these things. They think, wow, like if this dress is $40 on Wish, why are you charging me $800? Clearly you must just be gouging me and being a ripoff artist, right? And I'm like, that is not the case. You are supporting, like, number one, child slave labor. Number two, bad practices. Number three, it's completely environmentally unsound. Like the amount of waste, because the clothing is built so cheap, like it's literally built to fall apart, right?
Yeah.
And people think, whatever, I only paid $10 for this top. What do I care if it like goes in the garbage in, the spring if I'm wearing it for the winter? But it's creating so much garbage and so much waste, and people just aren't building things to last anymore, that it makes it hard to justify to people the prices that I charge because they don't understand, right? And also they bring me things. They bought this piece of shit dress for $20 on the internet. They bring it to me and they're like, well, it just needs a little bit of alteration. And I'm like, no, it needs more than a little bit of alteration. One, you're going to pay me more for the alterations than you paid for the dress in the first place. And then they're like, well, what's the point? I don't want to pay you more than the cost of the dress, which is totally fair. But then they're stuck with this piece of shit dress that looks even worse because it doesn't fit them correctly. And you've essentially just thrown $20 in the ditch, right?
Yeah.
So it's, oh my God. If I could like somehow burn down cheap Asian fashion websites, I would.
Have they personally stolen any of your designs or?
Not yet, but they've stolen from friends of mine, and I'm just waiting. I'm just waiting for the day that it happens because I know it's coming.
Jeez, that's rough.
Yes, it pisses me off very much. I am actually just looking around and wishing that I had a glass of wine right now because it's pissing me off. But no wine has appeared. Jessica, quick! I think I'm actually getting a glass of wine. This is pretty exciting.
All right, so let's see. Where'd your name that you use, Madam Absinthe? Where'd that come from?
You know what? I honestly cannot remember. It has been my name for like a really long time. I think I just thought it sounded cool back in the day. And also because I grew up in a very, very rural area. We didn't have internet. We don't have any clothing stores. Like the village where I grew up has a population of 500. And my parents lived outside of that in the middle of the forest.
Okay.
Right? So when I came to the big city where I live now, it seemed very much like special, like ordering takeout food. We couldn't get delivery food because number one, there's no restaurants anywhere close. And the closest restaurant is certainly not going to drive food to your house. So when I came down here ordering, like getting takeout food, that seemed very special. Things like that. And absinthe was a drink because they do, if you drive to like several towns over, you can find an LCBO, which is the Liquor Control Board of Ontario, I think. In the States, you guys can buy booze anywhere. That blows my fucking mind. Here, no. You buy the liquor at the liquor store.
Oh, okay.
You buy the beer at the beer store.
Oh, okay.
You can't just go into gas stations and buy booze like you can down there. That's weird.
Okay.
So I'm like, there is literally booze in like almost every store I walk into, and I don't know what the fuck that's about, but I'm not mad about it. So when I came to the big city, I had always wanted to try absinthe, but there's no way you're going to find it up there. So when I finally got a hold of a bottle, I was like, this is like amazing and special and the most gothy thing I've ever done in my entire life. Right. So I wore like a black nightgown and dramatically, drank a glass of absinthe while I watched Bram Stoker's Dracula or whatever. And I was like, this is fucking amazing. This is my life now. I'm like a city girl. So yeah, and I don't know. And then I just made up Madam Absinthe, and I'm not mad about it because you know how people make internet names when they're younger, and then it turns out to be something cringy like Gothic toxic cat 666, and you're like, oh man, that's embarrassing. I wish I never had that name, but luckily I didn't do that, and my name is still okay, and I haven't had to change it, which is great.
That's awesome. So how'd you get into the goth scene in the first place? Was like not until you moved into a city, or like...
Oh no. I know. I was the only weirdo in my very small town. And like I said, we didn't have internet because we live in the bush. My parents still only have like really basic internet. It's very hard to like tell them about stuff. But I think my mom's trying to watch this right now, which is I'm trying to tone down my swearing. My mom tells me I don't sound like a very nice lady when I swear too much. So, we're trying to keep it PG, but I've entirely forgotten your question. You see, I can just talk about anything. What did you say?
I asked how you got into the goth scene.
Got it. Check. Okay. So, yes, I was aware of, you could go a couple towns over and you could buy magazines, right? And sometimes they would have tattoo magazines. And I thought that was like totally badass. So I would buy these tattoo magazines and I would cut out pictures of the girls with like the cool dyed hair and the girls that had like multiple earrings and, the guys with like badass tattoos and stuff. And at the time I thought it was just about like the tattoos and the piercings, but like looking back, it was also the fashion, right? And I would tape them all over my walls and tape them all over my locker when I was in high school. And, so I started being goth. Bad. Oh my God. I don't want to tell you about what I used to wear. I'll tell you about some of my horrible fashion choices as a baby bat in a minute. But when I was about 13, I was like, yes, I am now in high school. I am not a child anymore. And I want to dress like these people that I see in the tattoo magazines. So I would go to the thrift store and I would try my very best to put together extremely shitty outfits. And at that time I had long hair, if you can imagine, down to my waist. And I would just tease the ever living shit out of my hair. So it was so big. And you couldn't, of course, get gothy cosmetics at all. So we had to wait till Halloween and buy like shitty $2 like black lipstick, the costume stuff. Yeah. So I just tease my hair, wear like a really bad thing from the thrift store, put on a black lipstick for like $2 and be like, I have done it. I am really a gothic masterpiece of fashion over here. Right. Now looking back at it, I'm like, what the fuck? It's okay. It's okay. This is the version of what I always wanted that to look like. It just wasn't there. Oh, look at this. Wine is appearing. Yay!
Yay!
I think this is red. I'm excited about. I'm excited about that. I asked for wine and it appears. This is fantastic. So anyways, yes. So I started doing that and, listening to heavier music. And let me tell you how my descent into heavy music started with Our Lady Peace of all bands.
Okay.
Before that, it was just whatever my dad listened to. So like, classic rock kind of stuff. And then I started with Our Lady Peace and I thought, wow, this is some heavy music. And it just went downhill from there. Basically went from Our Lady Peace into Korn and then just kept going. Yeah. Zombie and what have you. Yeah. It was a whole thing. And my mom was like, what is this terrible music that you're listening to? And I was like, Mom, shut up. It's great. And yeah, my parents were not thrilled with my music choices, but they didn't give a shit what I looked like fashion wise, because when I was a child, like a small child, I used to dress in whatever the fuck I wanted all the time. And my parents didn't give any fucks. Like I used to wear, completely seriously, 80s prom dresses to school when I was like in elementary school. I'd wear these like huge puffy shoulder things with like a big sequin bow on the side, or like just completely random tie-dye shit. Like I just looked like a fashion disaster basically my entire childhood. And my mom, like people would be like, why do you let your kid dress like that? And my mom's like, is it fucking hurting you? How about you shut your mouth and mind your own business? Right?
Exactly.
So when I started doing this, it was just the darker version of what I had done before. So that wasn't a problem. But anyway, let me tell you about how in a very, very, very small town, we don't have any, clothing stores. We don't have any takeout food. We don't have any, but what we do have is churches. And the church, one of our local churches, completely seriously, preached like a church sermon about me and how I was like weird and bad and maybe dangerous. And the fucking priest or the pastor or whatever it was, like showed up at my parents' house and like tried to talk to my mom about how this was probably some kind of like devil worship and was obviously a problem. And my mom sent him packing in very short order. But yeah. Oh, and people like scream at you out of cars, like in rural Canada, especially up north. Like this is not a thing that you see. Like I was literally up to visit my parents like 2 weekends ago, and the amount of people that are like, where are you from? And I was like, I'm from here, you idiot. I'm probably more from here than you are. It's a thing. So they don't understand it. And I grew up like my early Gothic days. I got yelled at a lot by people on the road, by people in cars. So I got a very thick skin very quickly, which felt like shit at the time, but is now fantastic. Fantastic.
We have a question over in the comments. What is your favorite horror movie monster?
Oh, that's easy. You know what? Normally when people say favorite, I have a really hard time. They're like, what's your favorite band? What's your favorite song? I'm like, I cannot pick one. I am the person that's like, no, I'm going to need to give you like the top 10. But my favorite movie monster, 100% Dracula. 100%.
Oh, absolutely.
Hands down. That's an easy one for me.
Okay, so which incarnation of Dracula, though?
Okay, I know. Okay, I know that the classic, like I've seen, I don't want to say all of them, certainly not all of them, but I've seen all of the early ones, like the progression of Dracula. Like I'm a big silent movie fan, so I definitely, Nosferatu, believe it or not, was one of the first vampire films that I ever saw. So definitely Nosferatu, you know, into Bela Lugosi's Dracula, all of that. Got the, you know, Christopher Lee doing Dracula, but 100%. Hands down, my favorite incarnation of Dracula is Gary Oldman in the 90s version of Bram Stoker's Dracula. Oh my God, I've watched that movie. I can't even tell you how many times. And every single time I watch it, it is just engrossing. It's like my eyes are like laser beams to the TV and I can't focus or think about anything else until the movie's over because it's just so visually magnetic. It's amazing.
It is, absolutely.
Oh, and Gary Oldman, like, be still my heart.
Agreed.
Right? If I wasn't an ice cold bitch, like I would blush because that man is amazing. Like beyond his acting ability, he's just like, he's just fantastic. I can't believe how he can go from, you know, Bram Stoker's Dracula to Sirius Black to Commissioner Gordon.
Yeah.
He's a person that can just look a million faces, right? And just absolutely embody every single role he plays. It's fantastic.
Absolutely, my brother Gothish, Nosferatu with the Typo soundtrack.
I have both versions. I have both versions because I love Typo Negative. I do. But to me, Nosferatu, the silent version, it makes more sense with the original intended soundtrack. So if you do the one with the Typo Negative soundtrack, which I totally have and totally watch, it's kind of like you just have the movie on like sound pause and you're just listening to Typo Negative in the background because they're not doing the music for the movie. It's just Typo Negative songs, right? So it's a little bit weird to be watching Nosferatu and hearing like my girlfriend's girlfriend playing, you know. I don't know that it exactly goes, but
yeah, and you know, and then I get distracted and I'm singing along. And I'm like, oh wait, I'm watching a movie.
Oh wait a minute, exactly. Do I need to get up and like gather spider webs in my living room and dance, or am I watching Nosferatu? Yes, I totally get that. But it is, I like both versions very much.
Will you be wearing an 80s prom dress to your October Noir video shoot?
I doubt that. I think the ones that I wore as a child probably no longer fit me. I don't know. I don't know if I have permission to talk about like the premise of the video and what we're all going to be wearing. I think it's all super top secret at the moment, so I can't tell you what I'm going to be wearing. But it will be fantastic, and it will be something that I have made, of course. And I'm very much looking forward to it. Although I worry a little bit about the weight restrictions on my luggage because almost everything I make is extremely heavy, and every time I go to the airport, like, I am absolutely down to the wire on the weight limitations. So
it might cost a pretty penny. Yeah, pretty penny. We could maybe mail some stuff down.
Maybe we did talk about that. We're sort of finalizing the stuff that I need to bring, so that might be a thing that happens.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping I can cram it all into a suitcase and not worry about that.
Yeah. So, if you could pick like one piece of music that had like a massive impact on you, which one would it be?
Oh, my brain just thought something dirty. I'm not going to say that. Okay. I was going to talk about Closer by 9 Inch Nails. We're not going to talk about that. We're not going to talk about that. That did have an influence and an impact on me, but we just know.
I mean, it does everybody, but anyway.
Exactly. I think that sex was actually invented by 9 Inch Nails when Closer came out.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
One piece of music that had a huge impact on me. Let me think about that. Well, I mean, like Typo Negative is a band near and dear to my heart because we were just talking about Nosferatu, so now it's on my mind. And I don't know, it just makes you feel something. Like I can't listen to pop music. I heard this thing that like all goths like, you know, Lady Gaga and Britney Spears secretly. That is a fucking lie. I'm saying for the internet at large right now, I do not listen to any like garbage bullshit pop music at all. Like my taste in music is very all within the alternative umbrella. It's not all goth because like,
the closest I get to pop is synth pop. Okay.
Right now, I can't. Oh, it's terrible. So, you know, it's music that makes you feel something and like it just takes you to a different space, and it makes you want to like go for a walk in the cemetery and wear a very flowy coat, and any music that can like transport you out of your headspace and make you feel like you're in a different time and space and give you a glimpse into the life of the artist. Like they're writing about real topics and real issues and not just like, I can't even, I'm trying to think of a Lady Gaga lyric. I can't. But anyway, pop fluff bullshit that like doesn't mean anything is not for me. And I'm gonna plug October Noir.
Hey, what's up, Tom?
Because oh, there's Tom Noir right there. I just saw him pop up on the screen. He showed up. He knows I was gonna talk about him. That's why. So basically all of the music that I listen to is like not too much past 2000, because that's when music started just taking a fucking nosedive. Right? I know. Music was just better in the 90s. This is a statement of fact. This is not up for debate. Right? So, typo negative, Peter Steele's dead. Trent Reznor still alive, but unfortunately sober and married to like Yoko Reznor, and I just can't.
And making Disney movie soundtracks.
Right? No, I can't. So, anyway, it is very, very rare that I find a band that is like a modern band that has that feeling, right? And I discovered October Noir completely by accident because I follow a couple of typo negative accounts on Instagram. And one day I was just putting on my makeup, whatever, scrolling through Instagram. And I was like, I started hearing this music and seeing these guys. I'm like, who the fuck are these guys? I don't follow them. Why are they on my screen? And it was one of the typo negative accounts I follow. And it was like, hey, if you like typo negative, like check these guys out. And I was like, the fuck, I'm putting my makeup on. I may as well. I got time to kill. So I went on YouTube and I typed them in and I put them on and I was like, this is amazing. This is amazing. Like what? Yeah. And, you know, considering they're current, they're obviously still making music and they haven't been a band for very long. Like this has not been happening since the 90s. I'm like, it's exactly that vibe, exactly that feel, but like now, which is very rare and very unusual and makes me extremely happy.
For sure. So, Tom. Anyway, let's talk about So Fierce for a minute.
Okay, let's do that.
Well, was it weird being on camera?
You know what? It was at first. I'm an extrovert, so like one of my talents is being able to talk to anyone for any length of time about any topic. It's getting me to shut up. But it was a little bit weird trying to do the work, like not in the interviews when we would sit in the chair,
right?
Ask us questions, we would talk. I'm used to that. It's very similar to this, what we're doing now, right? But trying to sew or create, because I wasn't always sewing, I used a fuckload of power tools. But anyway, having someone like over your shoulder, like with a camera while you're trying to create and work is very strange. And like I don't know if you've noticed this, but I'm a drama kid. Surprise, everyone's shocked. And I talk with my hands. So I very frequently would bump into the cameramen because they'd be around my workspace and I'd be like moving from place to place and like doing things and picking up hammers and all sorts of stuff. And I'd be like, oh, sorry, because I'm bumping into people. And also they would come over periodically, like the sound guys would come over periodically and whatever, and have to fix your microphone and stuff. Also, let me tell you about how the sound guys fucking hated me.
Oh no. All
of this makes noise. And I wasn't even aware that the microphones would pick that up, but they do. And like, this makes noise. All my clothes make noise. Like it was a problem. And they hated me a lot. And there came a day where I was hammering hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of grommets into this dress. And I had my anvil on the table and my hammer. And I was like, wham, 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 wham. And then about 2 hours into this, I looked down and I saw a tiny microphone taped to the side of my table. And I was like, oh, damn it. So I popped in the sound booth and was like, I'm sorry about that. I didn't realize that there was a microphone taped to my table. And the guy took off his headphones, looked at me and was just like, we have you on mute. And I was like, yeah, I fucking bet you do. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm just noisy and I'm messy and I'm covered in spray paint. But like, you're going to have to deal because this is the way I work. So
So one thing I didn't really get a sense of when watching is how long did you actually have to like create all the designs and stuff?
Not as long as you would like. It was very, very stressful. And I mean, obviously, like I'm gonna be on TV and it's a drag design competition, so I better build shit that's like next level, right?
Yeah.
And when you build stuff like that, it takes way more time than you think it does. And also because I don't build things in a traditional way, I have a hard time gauging how much time it's actually going to take me. So, and I'm using unusual materials like barbed wire and taxidermy and like random shit that I found in the parking lot. So like sometimes I think it's going to be easy to attach. And then I realize I got to like drill the minks full of holes and like rivet them to some football shoulder pads. And like, you know, one of the minks like disintegrated and there was like weasel parts all over the floor and people kept picking them up and being like, who the fuck, where, there's another weasel butt over here. Like, Missy, stop leaving your fucking dead things around. And I'm like, I'm sorry. They're just migrating of their own accord. Like, and some of the people there were being very particular and very precise and working with like, extremely clean materials. And I was over in the corner, like literally covered in spray paint and filth. And I was like, everybody that is not allowed to like be covered in crap, stay the hell away from my table because my mess is just spreading. And if you come anywhere over here and touch stuff, you're going to have like fluorescent green fingertips. So just I'll stay in mine. We'll keep working and away we'll go. But one of the things I didn't realize is that the time we were given to construct the garment was not, we didn't actually have that much time to sew. I was thinking, okay, we have this amount of hours to sew in a day, but that's not true. That also included being filmed with your side interviews, having to go do fittings with your model, like getting mic'd up for sound, dealing with like a lot of problems because your earrings are making too much noise, right? So it's, we didn't have enough time and we felt like we were drowning. So after we had to be camera ready for 7 a.m. So for me, that was like full Death Hawk, full makeup by 7 a.m. We started filming at 8 a.m. and we filmed from 8 a.m. till like after, like way after supper. And we were totally exhausted, but then they would shuttle us back to our hotel and we'd have to keep sewing because we knew we didn't have enough time to create the level of things that we wanted. So we'd be in our hotel room, like in our pajamas, just like keep sewing into like the wee hours of the morning. So all of us were only sleeping like 2 to 5 hours a day and doing it over and over and over again. And I literally felt like I was drowning. It was horrible, but I wouldn't trade it for anything. The experience was amazing, but like, holy shit, the pressure and the time restraints and like that. Yeah. And the fact that I was using unusual materials. So they had runners like that would go to the fabric stores for you. So if you needed more interfacing, you needed a zipper or whatever, you could make a list and people would go get it for you. But because of the things I was using, I couldn't exactly go say, find me more dead mice. Right. Yeah. You know, so I was screwed. I literally had to work with what was around me. And that's all I had. So there were definitely times where I got really messed up and I just had to make it work and keep going because there wasn't an opportunity to like get more or have more time. Because when it was like, it's time to present to the judges, that was it. You were on the hook and you had to present to the judges. So. Jeez. Yeah.
So was one of your designs that you came up with like a favorite or do you like all of them equally or?
I don't like all of them equally. Melanie Sunshine can go fuck herself. I like the way it turned out. It turned out good. I really struggled with the concept of that week because it was supposed to be like they weren't allowed to say Hallmark movie, but what they meant was Hallmark movie. Like a romantic Hallmark style movie challenge. And you had to make this like super romantic outfit for this girl that was going to like fall in love. And I was like, that is so far out of my comfort zone. I'm happy with the way it turned out, but like, it's not my cup of tea. If I had to pick a favorite, I would either go the first look that I made, which is the weird red religious fetish dress.
I freaking love that one.
Oh, thank you. I love that one too. Or the last one, the look I made for the finale. I don't know if you've watched the finale yet, so I'm not going to say
I haven't, but
I'm not going to say it, but it is up there. It's tied with the red fetish dress.
I also really like the gas mask one.
Oh yeah, they didn't like the gas mask.
I know, and I'm like, what the hell's wrong with these judges? This thing's awesome.
I think it's just that I struggled a lot with, I'm going to say the judges, but I don't mean all of the judges. Lucinda got me. She has a background in like club kid drag and like weird shit. So she understood it, but all of the other judges really struggled to like understand what I was doing. And honestly, that's why I almost didn't go on the show. Like I almost didn't agree to do it because it's for drag designers. And I am not I'm not a drag designer. I mean, I sew for drag queens all day long. They bring me pictures and they say, make me this pretty pink sparkle dress, make me this gold fringe disco outfit. Yeah. And I do that. But if you ask me to design something, it's not going to be pink sequins and glitter and sparkles and rhinestones.
Exactly.
Filth and weirdness and like, and I was thinking, yeah, you know what's going to happen? I'm going to go on here. I'm going to be the token weirdo. They're going to show like 2 outfits or something. And then they're going to send me home and be like, haha, that was fun. But like now on to like serious drag designers. But that's not what happened. Obviously, I made it all the way to the finale. So like I am proud of what I accomplished and that everyone got to see all of my work and all of my creations, because the last one that I made for the finale is really important to me. And I didn't think I was going to be there. So I wouldn't have got to show that look otherwise. Right.
For sure. So if you could do it all over again, is there something you would have done differently?
Yes and no. Okay. I stand by everything I did, but I probably would have added, like, the way that it was described to me when I showed up was, this is going to be judged on a stationary photograph. You're going to take a photograph of your model. We don't have a runway. It's being judged on a photo. That's the way it is. So I thought, okay, well, if this is being judged on a photo, I don't really need my outfits to do anything. There don't have to be any reveals. There don't have to be like glitter cannons, like hidden holes. There doesn't have to be like, so I didn't do any like gimmicks or like reveals or like stuff like that. And then some of the other designers did. And every time a reveal happened in front of the judges, they would go, wow, holy shit, that's the best thing we've ever seen. And I was like, well, fuck, I should have done that. I should have added reveals to stuff, because I mean, I do build things with reveals all the time because I sew for drag queens. It's just, I didn't realize that I should have done that.
Yeah.
Right. So looking back, would have done that. I also didn't realize that when we were standing in front of the judges, like the cameramen were circling all around you while you're there presenting. So I thought my model could just stand still and I could be like, ta-da, this is what I made. This is how I made it, whatever. But I didn't realize they were only showing the front of her. And if I had known that, I would have said, you know, can you turn around? Can you show more the dress, so that the TV viewers, when it was finally aired, would have gotten a more full view of the 360 of what I made. But live and learn.
Yeah,
for sure. I can tell you a fun story.
So I'm all about it.
The nail mask creature for the music video, the Dancing Queen shoot. I was so excited about that. I'm like, I have a fucking head cage. Like nobody else has a head cage. This is amazing. And
it was great.
Oh my God. And they had gone, they didn't air this part, but the judges went around the room and said, what music video did you base this off of? So everybody was like, I based this off of Dancing Queen by ABBA. I based this off of Get on the Floor by Jennifer Lopez. I based this off of Lady Gaga. And they came around to me and I was like, I based mine on Prison Sex by Tool. And the judges, well, Lucinda got it because she knows.
Right.
Barbada was like, what? And I was like, yeah, you better go watch that. So, you know, I'm making this thing, I'm creating it. And I'm like, I want it to be really sexy, but like really uncomfortable to look at. And I was thrilled with the way it turned out. So the mask is actually made from heat formed plastic. So I got heat fusible plastic, heated it up, molded it to my face, took it off. And then I got strips of muslin, heated the plastic again, embedded the muslin. And then I took my grinder and I took nails, put them in my vise, cut the tips off all the nails, superheated them with my heat gun and just jammed them into the plastic. So they were like embedded in the mask. So all the nails are like through the eyes. And then I was like, wouldn't it be cool? Wouldn't it be cool if the nails looked like they were bleeding? Like if blood was coming out of her face? Like that would be amazing. So I was sitting there mixing colors for dried blood. I had some acrylic paints. And the first one I mixed turned out too red. The second one I mixed turned out too brown. And I was running out of time and they came in and they were like, hey, designers, you only have this much time left. Like TikTok, hurry up. And one of the other designers was running by my table and elbowed me and said, well, it's too bad you can't just use real blood, isn't it? And I was like, fuck it. Cut my hand open and painted so that's my real blood on that mask. They didn't air that party. Oh my God. So the camera guys came over. They're like, oh my God, like you can't do that. You can't do that. And I was like, too late, fuckers. It's already done. My hand's already open. So I didn't tell the judges. I didn't tell them at all. So I presented it and I was like, ta-da, this is my music video creature. The guest judge hated it. Told me I didn't even hit the mark at all. You would never see this in a music video, she said. And I was
like, what the fuck kind of music videos are you watching? Because I see shit like that all the time.
Exactly, right? But she didn't have that frame of reference. And I thought it was very unfair of her to judge my look, considering she had never even seen the music video I was talking about.
Exactly.
Right? So I asked her, I said, have you seen the music video? And she said, no, at which point I fucking came completely unglued. Like I was so rude to her. They cut that out too. They made me look like a nicer person than I really was that day. They actually stopped production and forced her to go watch the music video before she was allowed to talk to me again. Which I thought was pretty cool. So, and then after it was all over, I went to the judges had their own separate like getting ready area. So I went there and I was talking to them about it, and I ended up telling them that it was real blood on the mask and that it was my blood. And Lucinda was like, wow, that's so cool. Like I've totally done stuff like that. And Barbada was like, like literally was almost sick. I thought it was quite funny. She didn't, but I thought
hilarious.
It was
that's
right?
hilarious.
I was like, if you could make the judges literally gag, you're doing your job.
Abso-fucking-lutely. So now that So Fierce is over, what can we expect you to be working on now?
Well, it's been kind of a sad, I mean, the finale was only 2 days ago, and I've been kind of like feeling down about it because I always have this period of like letdown. Oh my God, the computer just went off. Oh no, what happened?
Uh-oh.
There, it's back. Are we back?
Good? You good?
Yes.
Okay, we're good.
I do something. I didn't touch anything. Oh, the screen timed out. Okay, cool. Sorry, I'm bad at technology. I'm better at drinking wine. I should do that. Anyways, so yes, I always have this period of letdown after there's been a big something in my life that I've been looking forward to for so long. Like we filmed that a year ago. I was there literally.
Oh, wow.
Now we were filming that. And we didn't know when it was going to come out. We didn't know how long it was going to take them to edit, all that stuff. So I was looking forward to it. And of course I couldn't tell anyone. Like I had to be like completely secret about it basically until it was officially announced. So I was very much looking forward to it. And then it seemed like when it started, it was going to be airing for 2 months. And I was like, wow, 2 months is such a long time. And then all of a sudden, bam, it's over. Right.
Right.
I think I'm a little surprised about how like sad I am that it's all over. But, I'm actually really glad that I have the upcoming music video shoot with October Noir to look forward to. It's be a little bright light in my future, so I don't have to be quite so sad about So Fierce being over. But honestly, like I said, I was really, really on the fence about whether or not I should do it because I was like, the weirdo never wins. I'm not going to win. I'm not going to be there for the finale. What if I just go on TV and like look like a fool? What if I go there and like my sewing is shit compared to everybody else's? Like. You know, and it was a real like moment of, I want to say leap of faith, but I don't have any faith. I'm not religious, but you know what I mean? To go do that. And then I regret nothing. I'm so glad that I did it. And the people that I met, the designers that I've met, we still have to this day, like a designers chat on Instagram where all of us talk regularly. And if any of us have any questions, I was in there today actually asking questions about secret appliques because I'm building an Elvis costume. So I was in there asking questions. Yeah. So if any of us need any advice, like, hey, I've never done this before. Have any of you done it? Can you give me sewing advice or anything? It's a really great resource. And we're all really great friends. Like I had a lot of people message me and say, was it as lovey-dovey as it appeared on TV? Like, was everyone actually that nice? And the answer is yes, everyone was lovely. I thought I was going to walk in and all the other designers were going to be like catty bitches. And that is not true. And then it turned out that they all thought I was going to be the catty bitch because they were like, wow, that broad looks super aggressive. And like, obviously he's going to be a massive asshole. And then they realized that I'm not. I'm just a ridiculous theater kid with amazing hair. So, you know, then yeah, and we're all really good friends. And actually, Diana DeNoble, who you know now if you've watched the show, she's actually like my goth sewing idol from when I was a teenager. And when I saw that she was there, first of all, I nearly peed myself. I like nearly had a panic attack. I was like, oh my God, like I'm gonna get sent home immediately because she can sew like nobody's business. Like I have massive respect for what she does, and being like sewing next to her and being considered on the same level because we both made it to the finale is a fucking accomplishment. I am thrilled about it.
That's awesome. All right. Let's talk for a minute about tattoos because I know you've got a few.
I do. Yeah, let's talk about that. Why not? So what do you want to know?
Well, you know, tell me about the ones you've got. You know, is there a story behind them? Or you just think they look cool or?
Yes and both, actually, I guess. Okay. I don't actually know how many I have altogether. I want to say it's either 11 or 13. I like odd numbers. So it's either 11 or 13, I forget. But probably my favorite one that I have is my Vincent Price on my thigh. It was also
nice.
I was really nervous about getting it too because it's portrait, right? And portrait work is scary because I'm sure you've seen the bad portrait tattoos on the internet where people right. And I was really nervous about that. However, my tattoo artist is incredible. Like he wins tattoo design award competitions. Like I have every confidence in his work, but I've also never asked him to do a portrait. So I went to his studio one day and he was like, "Hey, Missy, what's up? You thinking about a new tattoo?" And I said, "Yes, I'm thinking about getting a portrait." And he was like, "Nope, immediate no." And I was like, "Okay, well, no worries. I just thought I'd ask. Not everyone's up for portrait work." And I was literally walking out the door and he said, "Well, just out of curiosity, like, what were you thinking?"
Right.
And I said, "Well, I was really hoping to get a portrait of Vincent Price." And he said, "Oh yeah, I'm down. I can do that." And I was like, "Why did you just say no?" And he said, "What it is people come in with, they want a portrait of their mother, their grandmother, their dog, like someone they knew actually in real life. And then you run into, because he didn't know that person. He's like, that's not the way grandma smiled. That's not the way exactly dog's like lips sat, right? So he's like, I absolutely refuse to do portraits of anyone that you've ever known. But because Vincent Price is a celebrity and obviously you didn't know him and also he's dead, like I am absolutely fine with doing that. And I was like, great. So I trusted him. I didn't even look at the sketch. I was just like, listen, let's do it. And if it turns out fucked up, I guess I'm getting a huge cover up. But it turned out absolutely, absolutely lovely. And I love it. The amount of people that don't know what it is concerning. I have had people say, "Is that a tattoo of Tom Selleck? Tattoo of Alex Trebek?" I'm like, "Yeah, I fucking have Alex Trebek tattooed on my
What?
thumb." I know, right? I'm like, "No, it's Vincent Price." And I said, "No, it's Vincent Price." And
I'm saying you need to show the camera your tattoo.
Oh, okay. Let's see if I can do that. I said something to someone, "No, it's Vincent Price." And they said, "Oh yeah, the Addams Family guy." And I was like,
"What?
Stop talking. We can't be friends anymore."
Addams Family guy? Are you fucking kidding me?
Can I get my leg up this high? It's on my thigh. It's right here. You can't really see it.
Oh yeah.
But he's
nice.
Yeah, it's really well done. I'll have to send you a picture of it fully afterward because
what the fuck? Addams Family guy.
I know. I'm like, this is not the kind of interview where I take my pants off. So we're not getting into right now. That costs extra. So I actually need to stop making that joke because people keep saying, "Oh my God, do you have OnlyFans?" And I'm like, "No, I don't fucking have OnlyFans. It's just a joke. Calm down." But anyways.
Oh my God, Tom. Why is Vincent Price looking through a glory hole? My God, Tom.
Because he likes it that way. Listen, he's got to look through something. And if it's my pants, then bonus points to him.
Do you have a favorite Vincent Price film?
House on Haunted Hill.
House on Haunted Hill
all day long. Maybe followed by The Abominable Dr. Phibes. That's a great movie.
My favorite's gotta be the Mask of the Red Death.
Oh, that's a good one too.
That is a good one.
I don't watch it as often as the other ones I just mentioned, but like it is. I don't know that I have a film of his that I don't like, to be honest with you. So
that's fair.
They're all a win. They're all a win.
They are. They definitely are. All right. Do you have anything else you wanted to talk about that we didn't touch on?
Well, I mean, you talked about tattoos. You didn't talk about piercings, sir. I'll tell you that.
That is true. All right. Yeah. Tell me about your piercings.
You can't talk about one without the other, can you?
Oh, yeah, that's true.
So yeah, I actually, believe it or not, I only started getting tattoos because I started running out of space for piercings.
Oh, okay.
I know, right? I did get a little tattoo when I first moved to the big city, along with my Absinthe. I got a little bat tattoo, and yeah, and I was like, am I ready to do this? Like, this is really scary. This is forever. Because with piercings, I mean, you can take them out if you want to, right? You end up with a little scar, but like whatever.
Right.
But yeah, tattoos were actually very scary for me to get into because of that, because they're obviously a lot more permanent.
Right.
But yeah, I love piercings, obviously. It would be weird if I didn't at this point. But I'm kind of out of space. So I'm trying to like space them out. Actually, when I go to get a new piercing, which I do every year on my birthday, when I call the piercer, I just have to make a surprise me appointment because I don't know what's going to work. Like sometimes I'm like, hey, can I get this done? And then you go and you don't have the right anatomy for it or whatever it is. So they literally have a button in their computer that says surprise me just because of me. And,
okay.
Yeah, and they literally just book me a surprise me appointment. And then I show up and they just sort of look me over and say, okay, these are the options you have left. Choose one. So
what did you do when you run out of options?
I don't know. I can't heal. You know what? I can heal damn near anything. I have some piercings that are actually considered like very rare and very special that most people can't heal just because they're I don't know, they're unusual piercings and most people don't get them and they take a long time to heal and or they reject a lot. But the only thing I cannot heal is surface piercings because my flesh is so thin. Like I used to have in my chest, I'm wearing a tank top, but in my chest here, I used to have transdermal implants. I used to have 4 of them right there and I miss them so much. I loved my transdermal implants like crazy. I love those things, but I don't have any fat, right? It's just literally like skin and rib cage.
Right.
So they were hitting bone and they would reject. And I would get them done over and over and over again. And they just kept rejecting. So eventually I just was like, okay, I can't, I have too much scar tissue. So I just gave up, which makes me really sad because those are the only ones I can't heal. But past that, I have 54 and counting. So
holy shit.
I know. So we'll have to wait till my next birthday and see what 55 is, I guess.
That's awesome. All right. So where can people find your content? Where should they follow you?
Pretty much everywhere. I have all the things. I don't have Snapchat. That's a lie. I don't have Snapchat, but I have pretty much everything else. I have Instagram. I have Facebook. I have TikTok, which I'm never on, but I have it. I have Twitter. I have YouTube, and all of them are under Madam Absinthe. So if you Google up Madam Absinthe, you'll find me. Doesn't matter where, you'll find me. Whatever your favorite platform is, I promise I'm there. So.
Oh, one more question. Do you have a favorite one of your piercings?
That's a good question. That is a good question. Other than my sad dermals, I can't have anymore. I like my ear spikes. I was gonna say which side are they on, but I did it. I have 4. I don't even see them, but I have 4.
Oh, there we go. On
the top of my ear that I love quite a lot. Those are great, and also these 3 here. These are called antitragus. I have 3 antitragus piercings, which is really special. I was actually in London, England, of all places. And I was just walking by a piercing shop and the piercer actually ran out onto the street and was like, holy fuck, did I just see what I think I saw? And I was like, what did you think you saw? And they turned my head like this and they were like, I cannot believe you have 3 antitragus piercings. Like most people can't even heal 1. How the fuck did you heal 3? And I was like, listen, when my piercer did that, he literally said, this is a terrible idea. Let's try it. And I've been able to keep them and they're not sore at all, like ever. So that's kind of a bragging point, I guess, in the piercing world for sure.
That's great. And then also the chain between your nose and your ear. You don't see that very often. You don't see people wearing it as much.
No. So I have a whole bunch of these. I have like a whole jewelry box full and I just trade them out. I have different ones for different things. This is kind of more of a, a harder looking jacket. So this was actually made out of a piece of rosary that I had and took apart to make a nose chain. But I have some really dramatic, like dangly ones that I wear with Victorian outfits. I have some ones like crosses or stars. I have a red one that I wear that looks like blood drops sometimes. It's just another fun like face accessory. And believe it or not, until COVID, I didn't actually realize how much I enjoy accessorizing the bottom half of my face. When you're wearing the mask, right? You only have your eyes. And I'm like,
yeah,
I miss wearing lipstick. I miss wearing, nose chains, all that stuff. I miss wearing sunglasses because I was never the person that could wear the mask and the sunglasses because it made me feel like the Unabomber. So I'm like, no, we're just gonna wear the mask and that's it. That's all there is. So now that we're past the mask stage, which is great, I'm very much enjoying my nose chains again. They make me very happy.
All right. Oh, yeah, out there in the comments, do you have any other questions before we wrap this up?
Holy shit, I'm just looking at the time. I've been talking for an hour. I told you.
You have.
I told you. See, yeah, be like, are there any questions? I need this broad to shut up. I love that.
I definitely don't need you to shut up. This is great, but I ran out of content. I ran out of stuff to ask you about.
Nope, I guess everybody's silent. They've heard enough. They're like, nope, shut her up.
Hang on, here we go. How did you get started on YouTube?
That is very much my friend Jessica's fault. Very much, I mean entirely. I'm just going to say entirely. I was just the weird gremlin girl that just sat in my little sewing studio and just made weird shit and like nobody knew about it. And she showed up and she was like, why aren't you on the internet? Because I literally didn't have anything. I didn't have Instagram. I didn't have Facebook. And she's like, you should get social media. Like people would love it. And I was like, no, hard no. Yeah, because I don't give a shit. Why should I show people what I'm making? Fuck them. They don't need to see it. And she was like, no, like you should, people would really love it. And I was like, yeah, I'm not going to do that. And one day she was just like, okay, we're filming a YouTube video today. And I was like, this is stupid. Why are we doing this? Anyway, so I did it and she put it up there and it was like pretty popular for my very first video. It actually turned out to get pretty good interaction considering. And then I after a while, I was really sour about it at first, I'm not gonna lie. But I've kind of warmed up to it because I kind of hate social media because a lot of it's fake and I get a lot of hate and, you know, basic bitches and whatever. But I also have gotten some really good things because, I mean, look, here we are. I wouldn't be talking to you right now.
Exactly.
Right? If I didn't have social media, and I've actually met some really cool people in parts of the world, October Noir being one of them, that like, how would they ever have known about me? How would I have ever known about them?
Exactly.
Right. And I've discovered all this like really cool music and like even Dark Force Fest. I wouldn't have known about that. I wouldn't have been able to go. So you take the good with the bad.
Yeah, for sure. Are you excited to torture Tom down in Florida?
Extremely. Not even ready. Just get ready. It's gonna be great. So we actually have a little models chat on Instagram. I'm apparently in charge of telling the models what they can and can't wear, which suits me just fine. I love telling people what to do. So that works out pretty good. So we have kind of a vibe going of what we're gonna wear and what have you. And yeah, apparently we get to go down and be super mean to the band members. So whether or not they like it is up to them.
Yeah.
And I don't charge you for that. So
yeah. Would you ever get any modifications like a tongue split or something like that?
I would not get my tongue split just because I have 2 tongue piercings and it would make me very sad to lose them. But other modifications, like in the past, I've considered scarification. I've considered like cutting skin removal, those kind of things. Although you can't really find people that do that anymore. It's not as common as it once was.
Yeah.
I did used to have a branding. I used to have a liquid nitrogen brand on my arm, which I miss very much. It only lasted like 2 years until it faded away, but I would love to get that done again. I'm certainly not against other forms of modification. There's just certain ones that I don't feel like for me. I would not do the tongue split myself, although I don't mind when other people have it. And I don't like subdermal implants, like transdermal, fine. I'm not much on subdermals, like the guys that have the like horn bumps and stuff. Again, no problem with it, but I don't think it's something that I would do for myself.
I've seen that feels like a trend lately. People get like a blackout tattoo and scarify over it. I think that's kind of nifty.
Yeah, I mean, that's whatever people want to do, like whatever you want to do, no judgment on my part. You do you. That's the whole fun of it.
Exactly.
But I have a pretty serious scar on this elbow and it makes me feel quite sick when people touch it because of the scar tissue. So the tattoo that's on this arm, my spirals that I have, were originally actually supposed to be on this arm, but when he put the stencil on, it went over the scar tissue and I was like, I can't let you tattoo over the scar tissue. Like I will barf. It's not okay. So we flipped it to the other arm. So I don't know that doing scarring over a tattoo would sit well with my personal gag reflex, but hey, if people want to, be my guest.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, thank you so much. This has been an absolute blast. We'll have to have you back on sometime.
Absolutely. Anytime. You say you name the time and place, but the place is just going to be my living room. So you I'll find some tech help and we'll do this all again.
Absolutely. All right. Before we close this up, I am going to announce that next week, I forget what time. All right, there we go. Next week at 5 p.m., I have JC Don, good friend of mine from way back in the day. He's been involved in some music. He's been some bands. He's been a DJ. He's really cool. Make sure you tune in for that one. All right.
I shall.
All right. Awesome. Thank you again so much.
Thank you for coming. I had a great time.
Absolutely. All right. Until next time, everybody. Rock on. Have fun.
Cheers.
Drop the bass.